Three cards for your energies in play today, Wednesday, March 11th. This is the Morgan Greer deck, and the first card is the Knight of Swords reversed. Overthinking and harsh self-judgment are implied here. I think you're being prevented internally from speaking your truth for some reason. Remember, swords are about discernment, analysis, communication, slicing through illusion, truth. And because this card is reversed, there feels like something is being held back. There's something you want to say, something you want to write, something you want to communicate, and it's somehow stuck. So I'm being drawn to the fifth chakra here, Vishuddha, which is where we focus our communication. This is where we filter out truth from falsehood, and this knife just feels like it's kind of in the way of that somehow. I think it's time to look inward and see where the self-judgment is, because it feels to me like this is something you want to say, but you're afraid how it's going to be received. I don't have any context for this, but there's a lot of censorship in general going on in the overall environment right now. I think it's important, if there's something very true that needs to be said, that needs to come out. That's what I'm feeling here. There's the pressure of truth, but it's kind of gotten inverted because there's this self-conscious withholding, and it has something to do with judgment. So let's see what the second card can tell us to flesh this out. Second card gives us the Six of Cups. So 6 is the number of harmony and alignment, and because we've got male and female figures in this card sort of regarding each other, I think the problem here, the reason we're stuck in this fifth chakra, is that the masculine and the feminine are not completely in alignment about what needs to be communicated. There's something being suppressed, or there's something that's a little bit askew in terms of the way you want to present yourself to the world. And it could be that there's something unintegrated here. And I feel like it's the masculine side. There may be a fear of appearing, quote unquote, too masculine in this kind of communication. Maybe this is a workplace issue or something that involves cooperation, because these two sides need to come into harmony for everything to be balanced and for the message to be communicated clearly. And you'll notice that when that happens, these cups overflow. So there's abundance for everyone. And cups also symbolize emotional energies. If you're a man watching this, it could be that your concept of masculinity does not coexist easily with the idea of expressing emotion in certain ways. So time to look at that, time to wonder, what is the real risk here? What about me will be, quote unquote, diminished if I share this emotional energy in some kind of a verbal way, if I communicate what it is that I actually know to be true, as opposed to acting out some stereotype of masculine energy in this way. And if it's a woman, we traditionally suppress any suggestion of too much masculinity in the way we present to the world, and that shuts down a whole side of our consciousness, a whole side of our way of being in the world. These are essential energies, and whether you're male or female or somewhere in between, these energies are meant to cooperate with each other and support each other, as opposed to one dominating. And at this point, we're not talking about gender, we're just talking about masculine being a driving, action-oriented, organizing principle, as we see from the swords in the first card. And then the feminine, we see this, abundance of flowering, of generosity, of vibrant growth and multiplication of material things. Whatever is stuck has to do with this slight imbalance internally. So let's look at that and see what the third card can tell us here. And card number 3 gives us the Page of Pentacles. Well, that's an interesting development. Okay, so Pentacles are material reality, and the Page is a beginner. So this could very well be a work situation. Pentacles representing wealth and abundance and just material management in general. I'm feeling like this is either workplace related or it involves collaboration in a project. And it's something that you're not sure of your footing just yet. I think that's where the reversal in the first card is coming from, is that you're afraid to speak your truth because you still feel like you're in perhaps beginner mode and don't know whether you have the authority. I'll tell you what, sometimes in a situation where there's a lot of tradition being followed to the point that it's become destructive, because the world is progressive, the world is always evolving and moving on, and it may take that beginner energy to be able to see things that are not apparent to people who have been doing something for a long time. So if this situation speaks to you, if this is your project, your workplace, you're the newcomer, and you see things that are not valid, or traditions being upheld that are no longer operative or really even reasonable, it may be time to speak your truth. I'm not going to tell you what to do here, obviously, but you can evaluate the situation from that standpoint. Take a look around and say, okay, what is it that's holding me back from speaking this? And is my lack of experience, quote unquote, really a detriment? Sometimes an insight coming from someone who's got fresh eyes is way more valuable than just kind of following in the footsteps of everybody who's come before when it comes to making actual progress, when it comes to creating this abundance that's implied in the cups in the second card. So abundance is not limited to those with experience. And the ability to create abundance is not limited to people who've been around a long time. Sometimes, like I said, it just takes a fresh approach, it takes fresh eyes, it takes the willingness to name something that people who've been doing something for a long time may just habitually ignore. They no longer have the fire in them to want to confront things that have become tired, that have become less than useful, that have, like we've always done it this way. No, it doesn't have to be that way. The world moves on. And sometimes we have to kind of reboot things in order to get results. Okay, so to sum up today's reading, the Knight of Swords reverse tells us that you have a truth you need to speak, but you're holding back due to some overthinking, fear of judgment, or just this sense that you're not ready yet or not authorized yet. The Six of Cups tells us that this hesitation stems from an internal conflict between your logical, action-oriented side, the masculine, the swords, and the emotional, nurturing side, feminine cups. There may be also a tie to past patterns and a fear of disrupting a comfortable arrangement, if you know what I mean. Resolution here in the third card tells us that the universe is reframing your beginner status not as a weakness, but as a unique asset. The Page of Pentacles suggests that your fresh perspective is exactly what's needed to identify outdated traditions or ineffective habits that others have blindly accepted. So that's today's read. Like, follow, and share. See you tomorrow.